ahead and mute yourselves because you are in for a treat today. Today on Thursdays, we do a very special presentation, which is all about content providing. ASCIRA Academy is going to be, we're looking to have it become one of the foremost, if not the foremost place online to do your learning. And so today, myself and a really great friend of mine, we have the absolute pleasure of being able to really take you through and have a conversation and let you know what does it look like to be a content provider with us. Because we're looking for two things. We're looking for people who have big followings, but what I get excited about is we are looking for the diamonds in the rough. The diamonds in the rough that just have a little bit of coal. They've got great information, but maybe they don't have audience or they're not known very well yet. So we can knock off the last little bits of coal, polish them up to be the diamond that they are, and truly brand them to the world. So that's what this conversation is going to be about today. And gentlemen, I have the absolute pleasure to introduce to those of you, most of you on the call know him. A lot of you have not had the pleasure of meeting him yet. And so I want to introduce this gentleman. Not only was he a United States Marine for 20 years, but he is also one of the foremost, behaviorist experts in the world today. His book, Today's the Day, has already impacted tens of thousands of people all over the world. His knowledge, his presence, but more importantly, who he is as a person is absolutely phenomenal, because he will take the complex, he will make it simple for you. He'll be able to let you know why people do what they do, so that once you understand it, if it's not working for you, you can make change. And being the person that introduced me to ASCIRA, helped me get my material on the Academy, this gentleman has quickly become one of my, I'm not going to call him a friend. He is a family to me. Twice this year, he's been on private masterminds with me. In January, he joined me on a private jet with 6 other people where we went to the Bahamas and masterminded all day. And then his amazing wife, Anna, his amazing daughter Miracle, and him, they joined my wife and I for a private mastermind we did here at our home at the end of February, just before COVID all took place. And so we've become amazing brothers together, helping a lot of people. So Dr. Obom Bowen, I'd love for you to come on screen and just say hello, and let's get this rocking and rolling, because we have a lot of great information
Absolutely,
to share
Robert.
with these amazing people.
Thank you so much. I hope you can hear me okay.
You're a little quiet,
Well, let me turn up the volume here and get things going. Let's see, how is this there? I should have used my regular account. All right, so can you hear me clearer now?
No, it's still quite quiet, my friend.
All right. Sounds fine. Looks great. Maybe the account here. How about now? I'm not sure. Let me
Are you using
check
your
the speaker connection here and see what's going on. Just a second. This is probably why. Hold on. How about now? Can you hear me better?
barely? But we can hear you. You're just not as vibrant in your voice as normal.
Yeti, great. System, computer, audio. Just when things should be fine. Here, let me raise this volume. Ta-da. How's that? Is that better?
There we go. Yay!
All right. Of all the things that can go wrong, volume goes wrong, right? But that's okay. It's like they say in music when it comes to love. If loving you is wrong, Robert, I don't want to be right. But we're just going to be amazing today. So welcome, everyone, and thank you so much, Robert. Now that we got the sound out of the way, and I know I sound phenomenal and as sexy as I feel, today we're going to share a little bit about ASCIRA, and we are a social lifestyle learning community, in case you're wondering who we are. So, before I jump into the information, I just want to set a little bit of the context, and then we'll share the content. And Robert and I are going to have some fun. So if you're in for fun and you want to participate today, definitely this may be for you, right? So as I said, we're a social lifestyle learning community. and what we're actually, who we are and what we do. We're an on-demand platform that actually provides the best content to the world. So what we're seeking are the professionals like yourself, a lot of the top speakers, a lot of the top authors, right, and leaders around the world. And why is because our mission is actually to provide the highest value with exceptional benefits to empower people around the world who are basically our clients. So with that being said, the purpose of it is really to elevate mindsets and really help others unleash their actual human potential and improve their quality of life. So you get a chance to be able to do that. And today, this presentation is to tell you all about how you can actually become one of our content providers and what those steps are. So really, as Robert was saying, who am I and what gives me pretty much the right to actually talk to you about this today is, as Robert said, my name is Dr. Obom Bowen, and I've been an entrepreneur for quite a while. And being an entrepreneur, these are several of the companies I'm actually currently running and own, and 4 of them are actually content-driven businesses. One of the things that my wife got focused on last year was our daughter, who is now 2, maybe you can hear her in the background now that my sound is up, right? That I was actually on the road a lot. Every weekend I was in a different country or a different state. My CEO and I was actually just building our outcomes and breakthrough mastermind. And that was a lot of fun, but it was a lot of fun traveling without my 2-year-old and my wife. So, when the wife says to do something, doesn't matter who you are, you're doing it. So her suggestion was, I needed to find a platform to put my work on, my content on, so I can touch more of the world and do less traveling. And when ASCIRA came into play, I flew out to Dubai to talk to ASCIRA. And here's what I found, that they were creating more of a conscious, connected world by teaching people how to become the greatest version of themselves while doing good for the planet and the human race. With that being said, the gentleman at the bottom picture looking into the future in our social lifestyle community, that's our founder and CEO, right, Mr. John Sartoris. And you can see a lot of the other professionals that are in the world. Some of these individuals, if you actually Google them, you will not be able to access their work that's on our platform as simple as you are here with us. So let's go through a little bit of the process and find out what I actually did, how I got involved, and then Robert and I go back and forth with that. So it's important to know there's so many people that's giving us praises about the on-demand platform that we are. So in short, we're basically the same to Netflix when it comes to learning, growing, and development as Netflix is to movies and television, so on and so forth. So as we kind of go behind the curtain here and talk about what's happening, I'll tell you a little bit about my story. When I went to Dubai and I sat down and spoke with the founder, obviously I did my audition, which we're going to talk about here for everyone too. Got accepted to the academy, and that's when things started to click for me. So here's what I want to share and preface as we go through the information. Think about each and every one of you who are focused right now on building your brand, building your business. Right now, what's going on with the world during COVID is more relevant than when we actually initially launched. See, we thought initially it was going to take about 3 to 5 years to bring widespread recognition of really building a solid business online. And then through literally 3 days after the company launch, COVID went worldwide, the world got shut down, and most people wanted it to be, a month in, and then things will be back to norm. Some of our favorite television shows have been pretty much canceled or done digitized. My wife and I was actually just finishing up Blacklist last night, and the last season they used cartoons to finish the other half of it because we can't get back in 6 feet distance with each other. So being online is the greatest thing to do today because everyone is at home learning. 78% of American schools are being online right now. Some states are still fighting it. They're kind of half and half back and forth. Majority of the world are learning online. 87% of adults are working from home, doing stuff online. So why is it important? We don't need to really educate the world anymore. Everyone knows. Now we're giving you the opportunity to put your work online, and it's not going to cost you a dime. All you have to do is go through our process, which we're going to talk about. So let's jump right into it and have some fun. And if you're ready, buckle up, ladies and gentlemen, because we're going to have some fun as we go through. So we're going to give you the ability, as you're already doing, taking your knowledge, putting it into profits. But what we're giving you access to is our community. And we know that you're passionate about what you do, because I'm very passionate about what I do. Now I can do it in other people's homes on their mobile device or on a computer, and I don't leave the house. I don't get on a flight and jeopardize my health to do it. We give you that chance to grow your brand, inspire the world, and join our community. Now, I'm going to spend a minute here in joining our community, because we do plan as a company to go beyond $1 billion. And as I pause on that, I want you to understand this before we go through all the information. What we're giving you once you've been accepted as a content provider is access to our community and platform. There's no other company that does that and doesn't ask you for a percentage of your product, of your work, of your profits. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're giving you access to our community without asking you for the 100% that you get to keep in your pocket. So what some of these professionals that you see here, like Gary Vaca, the white guy, you can Google him, Cindy Wang. I love this lady. She's wrote 11 different books. She lives out in Taiwan. Taiwan's the only country in the world right now that they can actually go out and do events like there's no tomorrow, because they were one of the first ones that actually locked down. They only had 7 deaths because of COVID. Compared to the rest of the world, these guys are on cloud 9. So they're incorporating both physical and the digital, which is what our company's doing. So let's talk about some of the questions everyone asks, or every professional does, most content providers do, when they want to know, like, okay, so what is this all about? What does it take? So let's start with number 1, right? How to be able to get started. Well, here's the deal. You've already taken the first step. So the person that got you to tune in today, to share in this presentation, that's step 1. Step 2 is very simply with the first question. You get a chance now to actually start planning your course, break it down into 10 to 20 different modules of about 10 minutes apiece, and how long the course will be. You think about it in online terms, it's anywhere from about 180 to 220 minutes. And what should your application pretty much look like as a content provider? Well, basically, that's a great question. It gives you a chance to actually provide your digital audition. You might ask, well, Dr. O, what's a digital audition? I'm so glad you asked. Because a digital audition is a video that's no longer than 3 to 5 minutes that tells who you are, what you do, and what you actually intend to put on our platform in the form of, let's say, on average, those 20 different modules, right? You break it down. So that'll be in your digital audition. And inside of that, it actually describes your content and what value you plan to add on our platform. And how long should that digital audition be? Well, we just went over that. No longer than 3 to 5 minutes. It says 5 to 10, but the truth is this. As a professional, you don't need 10 minutes to tell the review board who you are, what you intend to do, and what your niche product is about. So I'm getting excited because I want to introduce Robert here shortly. Here's why. Because not only is Robert my cool friend, and we're both aerodynamic, you can't see, but we're both aerodynamic, you know, together, right? Today I'm sporting my LL Cool J look, just so you know, right? My wife likes it, and you know, when the wife feels good, I feel good. I get a good dinner tonight because of that, because anyways, good eye candy, but that has nothing to do with this presentation. So as we continue to look into it, what are some of the benefits of actually being a content provider? As I said, you get a chance to get connected to our community, but here's the best part. With question number 7 is, once you've been accepted, if you are, we actually either fly you out to one of our satellite locations, or we come to you, depending on how that goes. We record you and do all the post-production editing. For the average person, it's somewhere between $10,000 to $14,000, right? So let me just do this. I can just go on and tell you about it. I'm just gonna pause for a second, and I'm gonna ask my partner, AKA my co-conspirator, Mr. Robert Raymond Ripa, because Robert went through the process, got accepted. So Robert, tell us a little bit about, you know, how long the approval process was that it took for you, what happened when you got accepted, and, you know, when you flew out, got your stuff done. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, you know, here's the thing, Carol. Probably the hardest part of the application process was
and I think Robert is frozen. Today is just a day for technical difficulties, isn't it?
Can you see me?
All right, when Robert comes back, we'll have him do that. Oh, there he is. Yay.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead, Robert.
You can see me. Cool. Are you able to hear me all right?
Well, I'll just tell you Robert's story. So
We
it looks
can
like he's
hear him.
back again. Okay. All right, we're on. Robert, go ahead.
Yeah, someone heard me. I love it because I'm flowing on here. You know, I was saying the hardest part for me, Obom, was this. That was the hardest part of the application. Getting through the mind frick of, can I be an application? How do I figure it all out? And the moment I got it simple and I kept it simple, 30, 60 days is usually how long they take, because we're sending them so many applications for the review board to go through it. And I want everybody to understand, not everybody gets accepted. And that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. That means take the feedback, improve, adjust, practice, apply again. And so once you're accepted, and once I got my acceptance, I was blessed that during the COVID lockdown, our COO and our main videographer ended up coming back to Canada. And after a 2-week lockdown of themselves, we were actually able to travel to them, to the studio, and do the recording. And it actually, look, 18 years I've been on stages around the world teaching people. And people who know me know I'm very, very interactive with my audience. So imagine going from hundreds and thousands of people in my audience at a time to now training the camera, having to feel that energy and interact. So I was able to make the adjustment because the crew is so professional, they're able to guide. The part that kind of freaked me out though, Dr. Obom, I gotta say, is when I get there in the morning and they sit me in a chair and they brought in the makeup artist. And the makeup artist all of a sudden starts touching me up to get me ready for the camera. And I started getting self-conscious because it took them an hour to do my makeup. And I'm like, am I that freaking ugly that it takes an hour to get me enough so I don't break the camera? You know, I was getting self-conscious. Luckily, you know, they said, no, this is normal. And the next day when they had another person come in, it took them an hour or 2 hours because it was a young lady, so they did makeup and hair. So since I didn't have hair, I guess that's why it only took me an hour. So I felt better. But boy, did I learn going through the process. And I totally saw, if I was to do this on my own expense, between the multi-cameras, the lighting, the setup, even the little reflector, you know, they were so attention to detail. Even having the reflector, whatever you call them, so the light bounced up and didn't give a shadow on my chin. Like, their attention to detail was amazing. And with their guidance, I planned out 20 modules. I ended up doing 17 because as we got through the flow and as they're guiding and they're producing, we realized I could put a couple of them together into one module instead of it just being too much. And we were able to make it efficient. So it really impressed me. And I knew that this company, that right there anchored it in, the professionalism, the attention to detail, the full on wanting to have the best, and how they draw it out of even great trainers. That just kind of tied it all together for me. So beautiful experience. And because of it, now my passion and mission, just like yours, is helping our team members and people that want to be content providers, helping them be set up for success so that they don't get accepted and show up in front of a camera and all of a sudden they're like, what do I do, right? We want to be able to help them be able to deliver their content so that the people who are watching, they get the best benefit of it. And that's kind of been my experience, and I'm just loving it. I'm loving it.
I love it. And thank you, Robert, for sharing that, because I think it's powerful for folks to really understand and also see someone who's actually been there, done that, got the t-shirt, leaving enough clues. It's all good, right? So when they left enough clues. So, you know, Robert kind of answered the other questions. The last one that was left was, you know, who'll be looking at your application? Well, let's talk a little bit about that, right? This is not just you submit your application and we just kind of decide if you're good or not. We have a board of content review professionals that's been in the business for a very long time. So for example, let's start from back to front. We have Dave Doyle, who's a TEDx Talk producer. So Dave has been in that space for a while. He deals with a lot of professionals. If any of you are familiar with TEDx, then you know that whole TEDx genre. We have Curtis Randall, who's our executive creative director, who's been in his space and industry for over 25 years, working with Hollywood, so on and so forth. And then we have Dr. Travis Fox, who's a producer, Emmy Award-winning actor, and Golden Globe. Listen, the professionals on this panel, they know the industry of making you look your best, where you're only worrying about your content. You're the performer, you're the actor, but you get a chance to put here's what we're doing. We are immortalizing your message. We're putting it digital, which will be here decades, millennia to come, because the world is only going digital. So your application goes before this professional content review board. Once you're accepted, if you are, as Robert has said, not everyone is accepted, but also just because not everyone is accepted, they'll give you feedback on why. So maybe you can try again. Now I remember, Napoleon Hill talk about persistence, and I'll give you an example of persistence. I am married to my wife because of persistence. The first day I met her, I told her she was going to be my wife. She thought I was crazy. She thought I was cuckoo. Eventually, we became friends. About 18 months into it, we eventually went on our first date. It wasn't even that bad in my eyes. We watched Kung Fu Panda as a movie. And then, well, it was in my apartment. I don't know. She went to the restroom. She read my affirmation I wrote down on the wall, which was basically describing what I wanted in a wife. And it scared her away. So the next day when I called her, she didn't answer. And I called her every hour and hour. She didn't answer. Then every 30 minutes, then every 15, every 7 minutes, every 3.5. And her phone just said Obom all day long. Her voicemail was for, I know some of you women people might just say that's stalking, but I was being persistent. That day, she learned what persistence was. Finally, at like 2:30 in the morning, she answered the phone. And all I said was hi. And that hi led to her now and me creating a miracle. That's our 2-year-old daughter. So see, persistent work. What am I saying here? If you are really looking to immortalize yourself with us and you get a no, well, let's try again. If first you don't succeed, try and try again, right? There is no triumph without a little bit of try. Got to get the effort in there. So if you're accepted, this is what our digital course catalog looks like. So I'm going to go through some of these, right? We have everything under the sun except for sex, religion, and politics, because those three bring more division than anything else. So wherever you are, we want your information on our platform. It's in different languages. You can see as well. So everything from, and listen, the largest portion of the world is Asia and India. So we're looking to impact the world. We're over in, 63 countries right now in the last 5 months. So we're moving rapidly fast. So you can see some of the titles that are here and go through some of them. Right? There's mine at the bottom. Obviously, the first thing that I always see is yourself. The most amazing thing to you is your name. So I see my name. That guy is just so bald and beautiful. I love him. He's sexy as ever. But some of my dear friends are on here too, like Miss Belinda Lee, and I can see Hugh Paul and Sue Demas, some of my really good friends. But then again, there's the sexiest of them all. I might be cute, but I'm not as sexy as the authority key, Mr. Robert Raymond Riopel himself. And as you see, he's always leaving clues. So as I go through this, Robert, tell us about the process, just being able to look at your course now, finishing everything else, and know that, you're now immortalized. What is that feeling for you to know that you are now set in history and you can make an impact around the world without flying 200,000 miles like you've normally been doing?
Well, that you just hit it right on the head right there. Is I love to travel, and for the last number of years, I've averaged 200,000 miles a year traveling around the world teaching, and I will always continue to teach live audiences. However, I've for years been wanting to get my information out on a digital platform, and I always had the reasons why it wasn't going to happen. So the thing that excites me the most about now having my material on the platform, and I want everybody to understand this, when you get accepted, if you get accepted, it's not necessarily only going to be a one-time thing. See, I gave everything I have in this presentation because I want it to be the starting place. Because I'm looking at the big picture, I'm looking at the long game of this. And so knowing that I now have access to countries that I haven't even traveled, and boy, have I traveled, ladies and gentlemen, but there's countries I haven't been able to go to yet, but now my message can. That's what excites me the most, because it's helping reach more people. Because I originally, look, Obom, I started as a trainer because my life had been changed by personal development. And I believe that if I could even help one person do what my wife and I had been able to do, go from being financially in $150,000 in debt to then financially free, I believe if I could even help one person do that, it would be amazing. And now I've been blessed to personally train over 500,000 people around the world. 500,000, and that's been in 18 years. So now I'm going digital, how many more people can we impact? And in what languages? Because I know we'll talk about it later about the different languages. So that's what gets me excited, because now I can be home spending more time with my family, doing those things, and still impacting the world, still allowing my mission, my passion, my vision to be played out in places I never dreamed of even going.
I love it, Robert. And when you said how many more people, I had my Austin Power alter ego came up and said, now you have the chance to train 1 billion people. I love it. So, you know, for those of you who see yourself here, it's only a matter of time. So we're talking about the process. You can see so many other folks, so many different languages. I mean, if you want to learn hip hop dancing from someone in Asia, it's a beautiful course, right? So there's so many here, everything from blockchain technology, you name it, right? It's all there, even down to essential oils. So we have some of the most amazing courses with some of our most amazing friends. Think about this, right? Kerry Weber Young's course on the inner superpower for kids. How many of our children right now need the right mindset and education to get them to become that change that the world needs? It needs to start now, because what's happening in our world is there's a lot of fear being infused because of COVID. These kids need to learn how to be empowered from some of the people who've actually walked the walk, talked the talk, and got a few t-shirts while they're doing it. So it's amazing. So let's dive a little deeper using Robert. You know what, Robert? I'm just going to flip through. Why don't you tell us about what it takes getting your course on here, and you just say next slide. I'm just going to be your chauffeur for a second, sir.
Well, you know, I'm going to explain. This is what it looks like when you are when you're part of the academy. You're going to get your whole page where your course description, go ahead and go to the next one. It starts to list all of your, here's my different modules: mentorship, action, success through celebration. So each video allows people to click in. But at the bottom, here's what's really, really cool. It has not only your bio, but notice all the social media links, because this is what really kind of, here's where we're disrupting. We're disrupting this industry, because you and I'm sure a number of people on this call, they may have experience of what it is to be a trainer and be a trainer on other people's platforms. I have. And so when COVID hit, as an example, I was asked to be on a virtual platform. And when if I was on this company's live stage, they wanted, of anything I would sell, they wanted 60% of the revenue, I'd get 40%. And that's pretty standard in the industry. Out of my 40%, I have to pay to fulfill. I have to pay for my travel. I have to pay for all that. So I get a little bit of what's left. But knowing the big picture, I want what's coming down the road. But this company said, well, Robert, since it's virtual, you don't have to travel. Fulfilling isn't going to cost you anything because you do it online. So we want to do a 70-30. And initially I said, okay, I want to support you. I'll do it. And thinking the back end, I have them send me the contract. And in the contract, it was a 70-30 split, but it wasn't 70-30 of the sales. It was 10% taken off for this, 5% taken off for credit cards, this expense, After the expenses, now it was 70/30. Oh, and if you're selling a 6-month training, we'll pay you 2 months after your training's done, which means I don't see the money for 8 months. Oh, and for the next 3 years, we want 35 to 50% of everything that you do from these the people that have come to you through us. And I had to respectfully decline because that was not a win-win. And so all ASCIRA comes along and they say, here's a catch. And I'm like, what's the catch? What's your percentage? What are you looking for? And they laid it out and they said, well, all these little links here go directly to you. I'm like, right, what do you want for any of the income I make from this? And they said, please keep it all. We want you to deliver such amazing information that when people watch your videos, we want you to give us your best. And when people watch your videos, they'll want to click and find you. And if they come and say, hey, Robert, I saw you on the ASCIRA Academy. We'd like to hire you for our corporation, or do you have coaching trainings? And they hire you, that's your money. Keep 100%. That blew me away because that's unheard of in this industry. So we're disrupting. You know, one of the things I teach, the 4 currencies of life, before that module, I talk about what's called my unclutter chaos phase. Any company that's big out there is because they don't just take status quo. They find ways to disrupt, to reinvent the industry that they're in. And that's what ASCIRA is doing. That's what's blown me away. And so having and being able to see this as an example of what people are going to be able to have for themselves with their material, that gets me excited because, again, how many people can we impact around this world? That's what it comes down to. I don't know if that answers your question, Dr. O, but that's, when I look at this, that's what gets me excited. You know, it's not about me seeing me, it's knowing I'm going to be able to help more people.
Absolutely, Robert. And you know, it more than answers the question. I don't know if I was a professional now sitting here looking at it. For me, obviously, when I listen to you, like that did it for me. That caught it because now I get to keep 100% of the proceeds when someone reaches out to me. It's like we are the greatest version of the Yellow Pages for professional speaker authors. And if for those of you who are old enough to understand what the Yellow Pages are, by the way,
some people
right? So we're the digital Yellow Pages, but we're not yellow. So let's continue to dive in a bit. I know that might be a corny joke for most of us. Let's talk about what our community actually looks like and how you can participate in our community. So as you see, we have our own social media platform. It's very similar to Facebook, but better. So let's start with a little browsing around. Like on Facebook on the right-hand side, they have the advertising banners that you see. We have similarly the same thing. This one that says the best learn now, something in Cantonese, legendary success, enroll now. These are basically the new courses that are coming out. So if you're asking, well, how is the community going to know about my work, about my course? It announces it to our community. And just like you have a profile on Facebook, it shows over here on the left-hand side, you see all the course discussions and descriptions for a Super B. This one here, just like Facebook, she can like, share, comment, and do all those things as she continued to build on her profile. And over here on the right-hand side, more of the courses she's tied into. So with you look at this and hundreds of thousands and millions, when we get to 1 billion individuals on our platform will be doing the exact same thing. Your courses will be announced. You get to see their activity. They can take polls and anything else. This is just an example. She's asking about red and blue, right? Because this is the demonstration piece. But think about, you know, someone taking your course, whatever your course is, and asking on a poll what they like or what module did they like best and how important that is. But let's go a little deeper and look at the things that they can discuss. Posting maybe, say, your course on there and taking a poll from it, but on her dashboard, which is important. And for those of you who understand what actually helps build your brand is this: client or customer interaction. In other words, in today's world is gamification on social media. How your work is being interacted with or gamified or commented on. Here on her dashboard, it shows a little bit that Super B has 18 courses that she's taken a look at currently, over 52 hours that she's looked at, where she's at, destination, how to connect with her different posts and achievements through the gamification process. You know, recognition, they say soldiers fight for it, babies cry for it. We all want to be recognized. And this is a platform that takes you through that process. all the way from where she's at to go in VIP. We know what VIP means. It's all important. But you go a little in depth to check out her activity, the best of her yes, which is almost like likes, right? Best stuff and different polls and things that she does. It shows her activity. But here's what's important. It also tracks the percentage of how much she's actually watched on those courses that are engaged. So as an example, with success means 100% on board. Steve Martin's course, she watched 40% of that. An example of mine, 20% in the human behavior psychology course, right? So there's so much that it's actually tracking. The analytics is important because the analytics is what tells who's popular and who's not, and the algorithm starts to drive. So imagine when you're interactive on our platform, what that actually does, because most platforms or anyone doesn't give the professionals the chance to interact with their community. You can see how many she's following or who's following her as it continue. And of all of them, this is my favorite part, because here's why. Writing clarifies thought. When you're learning and you're able to take notes to follow up on the lessons you do, it's very important. So this is the notebook section. Imagine someone taking a look at your course, making notes on their smart device or laptop, and it travels with them wherever they go. So even if you lose your notebook, you don't have to haul it around, but you never lose your, I don't know about you, but I've never lost any of my phone. I've dropped it in the bathroom. That wasn't good. But I've never lost my phone. I threw it in the trash once and forgot and then went back and got it. Same thing with my wallet. But we still found it, right? So there's different case studies, library resources, and useful links. Well, what is the useful links section? Things like your website, your social media, places where they can go and get all this stuff shortcut or share it with their friends. It's very, very powerful. This looks very simple, but it's one of the most powerful pieces on the platform. So I want to take a deeper dive again. This is another good friend of mine, Mr. Darren Kidd, who's actually been accepted on the platform. So let's kind of go behind the scene. You kind of saw Robert's, the make out of it, same thing as his, but let's dive in when someone is actually taking a look at the course, what they get a chance to see. There's three different parts in each course. Like, for example, you have the path, which shows you the different components of the course, and then the current path, which is types of knowledge that you're looking on the space. This is what helps track. This is what helps with the analytics. So you have the path. Then on the second one, you see you have path, learners, and discuss. In the learners, in this one here, obviously this was only Super B herself. We haven't given access to the rest of the world yet, just so you know. So we're giving access to the world of this at the end of September, which is why I'm excited, because we're barely like 30-something days away. It's crazy. So you want to be able to get your application in now. And if it takes 30 days to accept, by the time we're on, you're in. Just saying. So from the learners, if she wants to interact with others, then she can go to the discussion tab. She can take polls, post pictures, break the silence, and interact with other students, other clients, and you with your course, which is very, very powerful. When you're in, I'm just going to leave that alone. When you're able to interact, things become very powerful for you and your brand. And as Robert said earlier, when they're excited and want to reach out to you, they get to do so. All your social media plugins that you have and provide in the process with your digital application process gets added on here. So someone falls in love with Darren. He's another ball guy. Now, here's the deal. You don't have to be aerodynamic. You don't. It's not a requirement. But it just says that you're cooler than most people. I'm just saying. Anyway, so someone sees, likes Darren's information, and want to reach out, they can click on Facebook and reach out to him. Now, here's what's important, because when they do, they get to start building that friendship. You get to start building that relationship, and they reach out to you directly. And as we said earlier, 100% of the proceeds, when you sign them or register them up for any of your courses or any of your events, now you get to actually start building a list of hungry, happy clients instead of shooting in the dark, running Facebook ads or Google ads or YouTube ads or ads on LinkedIn, ads anywhere. The only thing you want to do is add people who love you already into your list to really continue and build a relationship with them. So here's what I want to do. This is what everything looks like. Let's see what it all looks like. And I think I see Robert has a finger up, which means one more thing. He has a point he'd like to make. Ladies and gentlemen, let's turn it over to Mr. Robert Raymond Riopel yet once again.
You hit a really key point a couple slides ago, Obom, which is I want people to understand. When you get a hold of and you watch something from someone like a Tony Robbins or these names, to personally be able to interact with them, unless you're paying tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars, it's not going to happen. But the interaction that as a content provider, people are going to actually be able to interact with you to the level you would like to. See, and I love interacting with my students. So giving them that extra little bit of value that we're going to be able to do right through ASCIRA Social is critical. And the biggest thing that people need for branding is social proof. You can say you're great, and people are like, whatever. But as soon as other people start talking about the value you're bringing, that social proof, that's where it elevates you as a brand, elevates you as a presenter, gets you out to more people. That's the point I want to make.
Awesome. Thank you, Robert. And that's such a powerful point too. When you have that chance to interact, what I saw here more than anything else was that, and being able to interact with an audience that I wouldn't have to fly to typically is very important around the world to build a brand. So I kind of want to just get a little excited with everyone right now. If you're liking what you're seeing, here's the part I left out. We're going to market and brand you globally. So as we continue to build and market and brand a company, let me share just a quick, short 2-minute video with you of what this all looks like when it all comes together and you get a chance to be part of this legacy that we're building with ASCIRA. No, every time I see that video, I get excited and I fall in love all over again. So if you could have visualized yourself in that moment, as we're staying tuned here for the live version that's coming out at the end of September, here's what I want to share with you. I'm excited to have you on the platform to be able to utilize your message to change the world. So what I want to do right now is actually take some time, both Robert and I, and answer any questions that you all might have. I think we did a phenomenal job, but I know many of you, if you're anything like me, sometimes you have questions. So we want to just spend some time right now and ask that if you do have questions, you could either raise your hands either digitally, virtually. If we can't see, we might have to scroll through the pages with everyone else here, or write your questions down in the comment. And I'm going to ask, let me see, Fasana, if you can help me check in the comments too, to, you know, find any questions someone have. And then all I'm going to do right now is open up the floor. Hope you guys enjoy the presentation. I know Robert and I, we love to have fun. So if our jokes was too corny and you didn't laugh, just laugh. That was another corny joke, by the way. But I just want to open up for questions right now so that we can do that for you. So anyone questions about what you just saw, let us know. We're here to serve. And I see we have Miss Claudia. Hi, Claudia.
Hello. Thank you so much for this awesome presentation, gentlemen. I really, really appreciate it. My question is for the application process. I already have all the modules like listed in the order that I think would be best. Do we have to go into detail as to what is in every single module, or just the 20?
Ooh, that's a great question. So before I answer it though, I'm going to go over to Robert because he just did it.
Yeah. And I was just messaging Fasana that there was a question on the chat earlier that we'll bring up after this. So what you want to do is you don't have to make a description. Just have the rough idea of what your titles are and list those down, because here's what happened with me. I knew what I wanted to talk about, but while I'm in the moment, while I was actually doing the trainings, that's when I was able to clarify how I would describe them. And so once I did the recordings, then I was able to go in and say, here's the module description, here's the module description, here's the module description. And even a couple of my titles, I still adjusted. It does not have to be perfect. ASCIRA's got to see that you know what you want to talk about, but it's not set in stone, if that makes sense.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
And then Fasana, the question that she found is, can they obtain a certificate for each of the courses we take at ASCIRA, and are they endorsed, and by which universities? That came from Isabel. So Obom, I'll let you kind of start on that one, and I'll give you any of my input on it as well.
Awesome. So Isabel, that's a beautiful question. And not every course on the platform has a certification. For example, I know there's 3 courses I'm putting on the platform. 2 of them are certification courses, because my first closest course is kind of the intro. I'm actually doing the certification for that one too. But the other 2 are definitely certified. Mine is out of the education and development program here in the state of Atlanta, Georgia, but that's certification through here. I'm working with a global platform right now to do the global certification of my courses, but we also have partnerships with several countries around the world, to include 14 countries out of Asia, or 12 rather, and 6 in India, that are connected with universities. We're working with several others. There's several universities right now that are doing a lot of their certification courses on our platform. So when we're sharing this information, it's not just only the professionals. We have those professional relationships. The second part of that, what really actually got my wife in, and this is maybe a little overshare, but it's exciting to know, is because we're going to be launching the ASCIRA for Kids in a year or 2, which is going to be the whole other version of homeschooling. Now, that was going to be some advanced stuff for us, but because COVID hit, we're working on that a lot faster now, because that makes it more relevant since most of the world is learning online. So I hope that helped, and then I'll tennis racquetball to Robert.
Well, and what gets me excited too is because, as you said, we've been dealing with some universities, and as an example, in Thailand, I'll use that example there, they're tightening things down on some of their industries like network marketing, where Thailand, to be a network marketer pretty soon, you're going to have a certification just like a real estate agent. You're going to have to go through a training and get certified. And so what ASCIRA has done with our forefront thinking is we've already made a deal with the government where we will be the ones that teach that program and certify people. That'll be a little side private to the academy, but those are the kind of things that we're doing now with universities that are going to take us to a whole new level. And so that's what I get excited about, because we aren't just going to sit there about some content. We're out there looking at universities, way things are changing. How do we make sure we benefit a lot of people? It's all tied together. Back to you, Dr. O.
Excelente. All right. So, any other question? And Isabel, did that answer your question, by the way?
Getting a lot of echo off of you because you and Anna both have your computers going, don't you?
Yeah, because I don't know what happened with the sound, but the sound went crazy and something popped up and said mine wasn't working. I was like, I don't know, I'll fix it afterwards. I don't have time for all that drama right now.
And
All right,
I'll
any other
help monitor
questions?
the screens as well. So if you have a question and you're on screen, you can raise
Robert,
your
go
hand.
ahead.
Well, no, I'm helping monitor and telling people, raise your hand if you have a question and I'll help you watch.
You guys are the best. I have a question.
Go ahead, Fasana.
Can you hear me? Thank you. My question is on behalf of a great friend that I spoke to the other day. She's newer into the life coaching space. She has phenomenal content, like phenomenal. And her question, it was kind of a question and concern that I kind of felt come up, where she was saying, you know, what if I'm not ready to get my content exactly out on the platform? What would you suggest in terms of the opportunity we have for the business now, and how does ASCIRA and that beautiful panel of people, how will they help me through that process?
Love it. Do you want to go first, my friend?
You know what, Robert? I will, because I'm cooler, but you're just better looking. So I'll take better looking over cooler, so we can switch our personalities. No, on a serious note, Fasana, it's a very good question. The thing is, for most of us, we never feel ready, right? But we do have some professionals on the team, and two of them right now, I'm looking over my screen, Robert and I, can actually help with someone who has decided, well, if someone is just looking to get their work on the platform, we can help them do that professionally. If there's a cost to it. If they decided to join the business side of it, then it's a benefit Robert and I provide at no cost to help folks out with that. So we'd be happy to help them with that. But everything else that deals with actually already being prepared and help putting it all together, that'll happen like the day of the shoot, and they'll get help through that process. But there is help for that. As you know, within our community, we love helping. Because there's nothing like helping another professional immortalize their message and bring it to the world. And with that, tennis ball to Robert.
Yeah, and you know, you said exactly that. When ASCIRA, when John Satoris decided to put together, he said, this is the company for the people. And I've heard that before, but you experience it a little bit here, a little bit there, but wow, do you experience it in ASCIRA? Because when we've come together as a family, it doesn't matter if you're a sideline, upline, downline, if you're doing that part of it, we're all supporting each other. And so what we've naturally done, because my passion is I've developed thousands of trainers around the world, and I love to adjust, tweak, and just help bring out their authenticity. So by osmosis, we've started doing that. And we have other powerful people on our team, like Aaron Huey, where he can take a look at someone's content and wordsmith it in such a way that you're like, wow, that's my stuff. That sounds awesome. Because he knows how to do the marketing side of it. So we're naturally helping our team members that think they're ready to be a content provider. We're helping them with their applications. We're helping them put it together in a way where it's, because we know the content review board, and Obom didn't mention it, but for all you ladies, there's been an addition of an amazing lady onto the content review board who brings with her over 30 years of experience of putting some of the top names on stages all over the world. She's worked with Tony Robbins, Brian Tracy, Jack Canfield, Mark Victor Hansen, Brendan Bouchard, oh my goodness, who else? Dean Graziosi. You name the person, she's worked with them. And so she's now part of the review board, helping to really find the greatest content that we can have. And so she's part of our team as well. So she also helps bring her expertise in. So that ends up being a side benefit. And Obom, when I do trainings, I tell people, just join our community, even just for the personal development we get out of it. That in itself pays dividends off any investment the person makes. And because the way we're benefiting everybody that wants to be a content provider or just wants to grow a team, it's become an amazing, amazing community. And so tap into that, Fasana. Your people, if they say, I think I have a message, put them in touch with us, and we'll be able to say, yeah, you're ready, let's do this, or you know what, let's adjust this. Have you got a little more experience? What can you do so that when you're in front of the camera, you're not up here, you're with your audience, having that conversation, really bringing your presence, your power, your authenticity through. So I hope that answers your question, Fasana.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much.
You're welcome.
Awesome
Other
sauce.
questions?
So, ladies and gentlemen, who else? What questions? How can we? I see so many beautiful faces. And as you were speaking, Robert, I just realized, you know what ASCIRA is? It's a chance to jump in front of the line and connect with the top performers, presenters, trainers, authors, and entrepreneurs in the world without going through a lot of the red tape or paying hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, like I have for so many years to get, like, you and I became friends, but it was I paid a hefty price to become your buddy. But now we're giving everyone a chance to be buddies with everybody else. I don't know if you ever remember the show with Corky, like, I just want to be your buddy. It's time to be buddy. Anyway, so if there are no other last minute questions, I'm sorry for the corny jokes. You have to be old enough sometimes to get some of these older corny jokes, or I should say experienced in age. We're not old. You have to be experienced in age enough to get some of those corny jokes, or just be corny. So once, twice, if there are no other questions, I thank each and every one of you guys for being on here with us today. I'm excited. Robert, is there anything you want to say last in closing before we jump off?
I know that you would be on this call. You would not be here if you didn't have a message to deliver to the world. And so allow us to help you bring that message, because my passion, why I love training trainers, is because my mission in life is to guide and assist individuals in not only identifying, but living their purpose with passion. And again, some of your greatest messages that you'll have to the world is from challenges you've gone through. And thinking that, I don't know if people need to hear this. When you put it in a way and you allow us to show you how to deliver your material, you won't know. And I know Obom and I have experienced this many times. Someone comes up to us and says, when you taught me this, here's how it's changed my life. See, we don't know people's stories. We don't know the rough times they go through. But when all of a sudden someone comes up to us and tells us that, and you know, this saved my life, or I thought I was the only one that went through this, and now I know I'm not, and that's given me strength to take one more step. That's why I get really empowered, you know, Obama, is because you don't know the ripple effect. And I don't want to just cause a ripple effect. I don't want to just drop a pebble and have a little bit of a ripple effect. By helping others, I want to create a freaking tsunami of positive change, a tsunami. And that's why when someone has a passion to teach and get their message out, I'm all in. I'm all in to support them as any way I can, because the world's waiting for them. That's my final words.
Awesome. And I love it. So the world's waiting for you. The world's waiting for your message. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. We are very excited for those of you who joined us today to join us in the future and help us get your message out there. So with that being said, take care. God bless. We look forward to being in touch. We will be doing one of these presentations again next week. But for those of you who want to learn more about the business side that Robert and I kind of hint to earlier, we're doing a presentation for that at 1 p.m. tomorrow. But with that being said, God bless, take care, and thanks for coming out. But Robert,
and there's still
back to you.
Question and answer period starting in 1 minute. Or are we still doing that? Guide me.
I thought we went into it.
Okay, good.
Right into there, so we should be good.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Have an amazing, amazing day. We'll see you tomorrow or in the future.
Bye for now, y'all.